My dad was in the first class of the ordained permanent diaconate. This sentence may require some unpacking for my non-Catholic readers, so here you go, heathens. Before a man could become a Catholic priest, he would typically spend a year serving as a Catholic deacon. Deacons are to priests as novices are to nuns, or they used to be. In the 1980s, to address a growing shortage of Catholic priests, a shortage that has since gotten worse, the church created the permanent diaconate. Ordained deacons could do almost everything priests do, pass out the wafers, preach sermons, baptize babies, and so my dad was up on the altar of our church every Sunday when I was growing up, which makes me something of a rarity among Catholics. I am a preacher's kid. Technically, I'm the kid of two preachers, as my mother was a Catholic lay minister. As the son of a Catholic preacher man, just one of his 4 children, I attended Catholic grade schools and, yes, I was an altar boy. But this isn't a story about being sexually abused by a priest, because I wasn't sexually abused by a priest. Looking back at my childhood, I can identify a couple of close calls. A priest from our parish once took me and another boy skinny dipping at a Catholic school's indoor pool after hours. But the experience was creepy, not abusive. In addition to being a Catholic deacon, my father was also a Chicago cop. A cop who loved his children and wore his service revolver wherever he went. And that fact may have given pause to any rapey priests who crossed paths with his children. I am no longer a practicing Catholic. If I had to apply a religious label to myself, it would be agnosta-theist, an awkward hybrid of agnostic and atheist. I don't believe in a higher power, but I do cross myself on airplanes. I once blew up at a friend who thought he was being funny when he inverted one of the crucifixes in my ironic collection of Catholic kitsch. And when I take the Lord's name in vain, when I mutter Jesus Christ through clenched teeth as my lead-footed husband passes someone going 90 miles an hour, I am seeking the protection of a higher power. But I go right back to not believing once my plane safely lands or once Jesus or Joseph Smith or Xenu safely delivers us back to the right-hand lane, which makes me a hypocrite and an ingrate, I suppose, but not quite an atheist or a believer. Not quite. I wasn't supposed to turn out this way. I went to the same Catholic grade school my mother and grandmother did. I had the same 4th grade homeroom teacher, Sister Mary Amadeus, at St. Ignatius as my mother. I was baptized as an infant. I had my first communion at age 7. I was confirmed at age 13. But even at age 7, the age of reason according to the Catholic Church, I was having trouble reconciling this loving Father in heaven I'd heard so much about with this eternal damnation thing the nuns were constantly threatening us with. But the fatal blow was the realization that I was gay. This realization came at roughly the same time I entered a Catholic high school for boys who were thinking about becoming priests. It was a bit like realizing you're an alcoholic on your first day of work at the Budweiser bottling plant. Despite all those years of Catholic schooling, my first reaction to the realization that I was gay wasn't, holy shit, looks like I'm going to find out what that eternal damnation thing is all about. Instead, I thought, what the church says about homosexuality, that can't be right. They must be wrong. This intuitive sense that the church was wrong about homosexuality, this unshakable conviction that the church was wrong about me, led me to wonder what else the church might be wrong about. Virgin births, maybe? Transubstantiation? Resurrection? Masturbation? It didn't take long to arrive at the biggest doubt of all, the existence of God. I transferred to a public high school and stopped going to church, except for the odd family, wedding, baptism, or funeral, and they're all odd, aren't they? For most of my adult life, I was likelier to walk into a Planned Parenthood clinic for a pap smear than to walk into a church. Then my mother died. A virus can lie dormant in your body for so long that you forget you were ever infected. Then something happens that weakens your immune system and the virus seizes its opportunity. For more than 2 decades, the Catholicism I'd contracted at St. Ignatius had lain dormant, manifesting itself only in airplanes and passing lanes. But the seeming immunity I'd long enjoyed was weakened by my mother's death. Because after that sunny, awful day in Tucson, Arizona, when my mother's life ended, I started slipping into Catholic churches. Not for weddings or funerals, but on totally random days of non-holy non-obligation. Tuesday afternoons, Friday mornings. And I wasn't just going to church. I was going out of my way to go to church. There's a modernist Catholic chapel near my office in Seattle, the Chapel of St. Ignatius at Seattle University. I think St. Ignatius is stalking me. It won a big architectural award. The New York chapter of the American Institute of Architects honored it. The scale model of the chapel is now part of the permanent collection of the Museum of Modern Art in New York. But I think it's ugly. All modernist Catholic churches look the same to me, like someone slapped a crucifix on the living room wall at the Brady Bunch house. St. James Cathedral in downtown Seattle, which is a much longer walk from my